Good morning, everyone. It's Robert from On My Turntable. Hoping you had a great morning this morning. It is a Saturday morning, as always, a coffee kind of morning. Cheers, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I apologize, I'm not feeling 100% today. Stayed away from social media yesterday. Binge watched Designated Survivor with Kiefer Sutherland on Netflix. If you haven't seen that, it's 3 seasons. Amazing. Just really, really good show. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the Moody Blues. Awesome English rock band formed in Birmingham in 1964 with original members Graeme Edge on drums, Denny Laine from Wings on guitars and vocals, Mike Pinder on keyboards and vocals, Ray Thomas, multi-instrumentalist, flautist and vocalist, and Clint Warwick, bass and vocals. Originally part of the British beat and R&B scene way back in the 60s. I don't have their first album, The Magnificent Moodies, 1965 debut. After their release of that first album, Denny Laine and Clint Warwick left the band in 1966, so the band brought in the remarkable Justin Hayward on guitars and vocals and John Lodge on bass and vocals, and that just skyrocketed the band to stardom. Kind of like not any similarity whatsoever. As much as I love Rush's first album, the minute they brought in Neil Peart, the band went off into a different direction. Kind of the same with the Moody Blues with Justin Hayward and John Lodge on bass and vocals. They changed their style to psychedelic and progressive rock, and then they came out with their second album, 1967, Days of Future Past. Fusion, classical music, they kind of blended together with the London Festival Orchestra. Kind of the pioneers of art rock and progressive rock, and one of the first concept albums ever. This is an amazing album. It's on the Durham label. It didn't really do much when it first came out, but after a ton of FM airplay with the Knights in White Satin, the album became a sleeper hit, and then it has become since its conception one of the most important albums of 1967, and it's remarkable. I love it. Tuesday Afternoon, one of my favorite tracks, and yeah, I love it. Their third album, In Search of the Lost Chord, 1968 release, again on that Durham label. One thing about Moody Blues is the covers are gorgeous. If you just briefly look at it, yeah, it's kind of cool looking, but once you look deeper into it, there's so much going on with these covers. The skulls and the rising of this, I don't know if that's an image of him rising into the Moody Blues, almost sunrise with the faces in there. It's just amazing. The hands on the side as well. They're gorgeous covers. Anyway, I'm getting lost here. In Search of the Lost Chord, no pun intended. 1968 release. Kind of an inspiration from the psychedelic era, as the band was experimenting with the psychedelic drugs to help them with the creative process. It became a sleeper hit. It go out number 37 in the Cosmic Rock album charts, and Mojo Classics special edition, Pink Floyd and the Story of Prog Rock. So it became kind of a cult classic, this one here. But it's a gorgeous, an amazing album as well. And then we have, I don't have their fourth, A Threshold of the Dream, 1969 release. I don't have that one, but here's a picture of it here. But I do have To Our Children's Children, the fifth album by the Moody Blues, released in 1969. It's a concept album where all the songs tie together. This one happens to be on the London label. Again, these covers It's almost like a dust storm with, I don't know, that was almost like a stick person, but then or a stick insect, but then you got this stick person holding a gun with horses on the side. Like, it's just so much to look at these as you're listening to this album, and just staring at this album cover, and the back continues the same artwork with the artist drawing the pictures. It is so good, so cool, so cool. One thing you got to give them is the art covers of these albums. During the writing and recording, the band was also inspired by the space race and the Apollo moon landing, so that helped them write some of the tracks and the themes of the album. Really, really good. Pardon me. At number 6, Question of Balance, the 6th album, released in 1970, hitting number 1 in the States, number 1 in UK, number 1 in. Let me start over. Number 1 in the UK, number 3 in the States. Kind of questioning the meaning of the world. They also wanted to record an album where they didn't have a lot of overdubs and symphonic recordings, that they could actually just go on stage and play the album. And that's where this one came about. And they did a great job on this one. This is on the London label again. Awesome album. Again, a cover that's got so much going on in here. You got Albert Einstein. You've got people happening here. Guy racing a bike. People laughing and playing. It's just so much going on in here. The balance of life, for sure. Number 7, Every Good Boy Deserves a Favor. Again, a beautiful cover. You can see the toys down there. It's just, ugh. 7th album, 1971 release, hitting number 1 in the British charts. Hit 3 weeks in the UK and the US charts. You got the big single, Story in Your Eyes. They kind of made it the same way as they did A Question of Balance, where they could just go on stage and play the album. And that's where this one came about. It's a beautiful, beautiful album. Then they get into kind of, the band was tired, a lot of pressure. You got the 7th Sojourn. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. Not as dramatic a album cover either. With not a lot going on in here. 8th album by the band, 1972 release, and but it became the band's first American chart topper. 5 weeks in number 1, so it's no slouch of an album. Kind of loosely based on the Canterbury Tales, where the band would tell the stories, but with their music. But again, it wasn't a happy time for the band. They would kind of take a break. They wouldn't break up, but they took a break between 1972, and they wouldn't come back again until 1978. But even the band members said during the time they weren't happy with this one, but once they took a break and got away from everything and listened, it became a pretty damn good album. And then I have Octave. This one came out in 1978 after their long break, 6-year break. It came out also in the era of punk music and disco music. So it wasn't really a commercial success, but it still went platinum in the States. Number 6 in the UK, did quite well. You got the hit single Steppin' on a Slide Zone and Driftwood as well. It's on that London label. Great album. just sounds a little different than their other previous recordings, but overall a decent album. This album here was my first introduction to the Moody Blues. My first album I ever owned of it. Getting back into the cool covers. This is Long Distance Voyager. You just stare at this thing. There's so much happening. Kids playing in the background, and kid hiding in the corner here. And is that a puppet show going on? I'm not sure where it's... There's a gate, so I wonder what's behind the gate. And yeah, again, I love this album. It's my introduction. You've got the 10th album, May 1981. Patrick Moranz is on here, from previously worked with Yes and Refugee. Mike Pinder had left the band after Octave in 1978. This was the second #1 album by the band. You got Gemini Dream, the amazing song The Voice, Talking Out of Turn. The album is about people and the idea that we're the same today as we were 100 years ago, 200 years ago. It's about people, situations, and feelings. It's a great album. I love it. I don't have their 11th album, The Present, 1983 release. I do have The Other Side of Life, their 12th album, 1986 release. Getting back into the more symphonic melodies and overlaid vocal arrangements. So they couldn't really just go on stage and play this when they had to do other stuff. I don't necessarily like the cover of this one. It's probably one of their worst covers, to me anyway. But the album itself is awesome. You got your Wildest Dreams, The Other Side of Life, Running Out of Love, some of the best from Moody Blues on this one. But yeah, it's not my favorite album cover by the band. I don't have the next bunch of albums. I don't have Sur la Mer, the 13th album, 1988 release. I don't have Keys of the Kingdom, their 14th, 1991 release. I'm also missing Strange Times, the 15th, 1999 release. It would be the last album to feature Ray Thomas, unfortunately. And I'm also missing their last and 16th album, December 2003 release. It was their last album, but they continued to tour occasionally up until about 2018, and then the band called it quits. So I apologize for my throat and my sound, but I got through it. So that's my look at Moody Blues. Amazing band. One that has to be treasured and part of that awesome, kind of the grandfathers of progressive rock. So much great music. So many great talents in the band as well, with some awesome, not only music, but also awesome, one of the best awesome album covers as well. So there you have it, guys. Have yourself a great rest of the day. I'm going back to bed. Take care. Bye now.